Hello and welcome to your Math 107 class. This is a quick recording that I wanted to make for you to kind of give you a tour of the WAMAP format. I know a lot of you are new to this format, and so I'm just going to take you through a very quick presentation of how this platform works and kind of at the same time give you an idea of how we're going to be doing things week by week as we go on this 10-week journey together. So what you're seeing in front of you is the basic layout of what you will see when well, you should see now that you're registered into the class. And at the very top box here, we have information about the Math Center tutoring. So here's information that you can use. I might be updating it as they give me more information. I'm doing this about a week before everything has started. But here you'll find information of where to get help, both at Fort Steilacoom and Puyallup. And also they have some online resources here for you as well with some links. If any of these don't work, please let me know and I will update them. But usually they send me an update here at the beginning of the quarter. On the left-hand side, you'll see the messages. This is the best way to communicate with me. Rather than sending me messages in Canvas or emails to my email that I also do include in here, the best way and quickest way to reach me and get a response is to send me a message in WAMAP. The main reason is I want to focus any correspondence to like one place because I want to be able to prioritize you guys every day. First thing I do is I go in and I check through my messages. And I will usually actually do this multiple times a day. When I've replied to you, you'll see a little red marker here, like a one or a two, if I've sent you two messages. And that's also important to keep track of when you go in. If you see that I've sent a message, that you have a message waiting for, uh, click into this and the messages will be there. If there's some update that I'm making, I'm usually going to send them to you here for the first couple of weeks as people are getting used to it. I'll usually copy those into Canvas, but then I stop doing that after a while and mainly focus on communicating with you in here. So if you want to send me a message, you just have to click on send a message and click on my name. I'm the only one in here at the moment. Put a subject and then type your messages here. The format of the messages is pretty much also the same format that you'll see for the forums and things like that. Um, a couple buttons I'm going to point out, the paperclip. This is for PDF attachments. And also this mountain with the moon. This is for JPEG or picture uh, things that you want to upload. So those are the two main buttons we use. But do know that if you try to upload like a non-Word or PDF file into the pictures, you're going to have problems. And if you try to put a picture using the paperclip, you'll also have problems. So I also have an assignment for you to do in week one here, which gives you some practice in doing that. Okay. Um, you are on the video, so I'm not going to go over that, but that's the messages. The forums, if somebody has replied to you or are posting in forums, you can click on this. And for example, in the course forum, the very top, this is where you can ask general questions of me, or anyone else can see your questions as well. Um, any questions over the assignments for week 0, you can go here or here, really. Either of those will work. These are all the forum type assignments and or forums that are provided for you. And they're broken up by week. So you're going to do, there's an autobiography thing that you'll do. I'm going to show you a better way to get to it, calculator upload. But then I have it broken down by week. So if we're in week 1 and you have a question about problem solving, you're going to post in the problem solving forum. And then week 2, week 3, they're kind of lined up according to so we have our introductory stuff here. And then these are just posting questions. Besides sending me a message with your question, I actually encourage you to post it into the forum, um, because you have one of me, but you have usually 30 or more people that are in the same class with you. And so you'll get a quicker response a lot of times by other students who maybe had done that question successfully. But for posts that show up or answers to a post that you have made, you'll see a little one, two, or three here as well next to forums. The rest of the only other thing you really need here besides that is the gradebook. And I'm going to go over to another tab here. I pulled up a fictional or past student so we can look at what it actually looks like. Until I'm not registered as a student, so I want you to look up when I click on gradebook, it looks very different. So I wanted you to be able to look at it from your perspective. So it's going to start out, um, well, with most of these boxes not filled out. But here what you see is the different types of assignments that people have done and what their grades are for them. And their due dates are all listed here. How much time was spent in those questions are listed here. And then down at the bottom, you have the grade, the overall grade broken into different categories. So there's the final exam, which is worth 40% of the grade. Notice that anything that's in purple, and I think I have one thing up here, a reminder link about the final exam, that has zero. Uh, in order to put it on the calendar, which I'll show you later, it has to go in as assignment. But all I wanted to do there was to put a reminder link on the calendar. So anyway, that doesn't weigh into your grade. But then you have 40% is based on your final, 20% is based on your homework, 20% is based on your quiz, and then the written assignments were 20%. And then down here, you have the weighted total. Where I always get questions about is uh, the difference between these two columns. The one you want to focus on is past due. Eventually, these two match up and become pretty much exactly the same thing. The only difference, and I'm not sure why this is off by point a certain percent, they should be exact. I'll have to look through and figure that out. But um, what was I going to say there? The one you want to focus on is your current grade. Like you just finished week one and you want to see where your grade is at, or maybe you did your introductory assignments. Once they've come due and that due date is passed, so you can look at it on Wednesday morning next week. This should be your current grade. Keep in mind that there are some written assignments that I have to grade manually, and so sometimes it might be a little bit lower than it really is, just that I haven't graded some of these written assignments. Here's all the written assignments. You can see their colors match up here, the quizzes, written assignments. But this should be what you go by. This counts your grade as if you have had the opportunity to do everything. And so what happens is that this stays really low here, but eventually by the end of the quarter, they match up with each other because now every available assignment has come past due. So the past due column is the one you want to focus on there. Okay, let's go over to how I've kind of set this up. Let's see, we're going to go to the link here. This is my office hour link. So at the time that you see there, that's when I hold office hours weekly. If you have a different time that you would like to meet with me, because maybe you have a class during that time or you just can't swing that time, you can always send me a message in WAMAP, and I'm happy to set up another time to meet with you. Most of our business together will probably be done through messages, but I am available and I can make time for you as well. Usually I try to keep it within the working day, but I know some of you are working and the only time you might be able to meet is at night. So just try me out there. I will try to kind of get an idea of, is there something I can do to help you right now? Uh, so I might ask you further questions like, well, what exactly are you struggling with? What do you want to meet about? And see if I can help do that without having to meet with you. But that's not me trying to avoid meeting with you in my office hour. I'm just trying to be efficient with my time and your time. And if we can take care of something through a message, usually that's going to be a better way for both of us. Okay, then here we have the do this first. This is what you should be doing. The very first thing, read through all this information. There's going to be a test over it, a little quiz, and then we have some introductory assignments. These are just quick little assignments. They're going to be due the Tuesday of our first week. Actually, it's the Tuesday. Yeah, I guess it's the beginning of our first week, really. And these are ones that you shouldn't take you more than 20 or 30 minutes to do. If you ended up signing up late for this, send me a message and I can reset those for you. Those are pretty easy assignments, and I want everybody to do them. So those are the week zero assignments. They come due like the second day of class. And then we have all the other topics that we're going to be doing each week. One thing that is helpful to know is that as you do these assignments each week, the topic changes. So if you had a hard time in problem solving, maybe you might have an easier time in voting theory. There's nothing in problem solving necessarily that is going to keep you from being successful in the next topic. So these aren't building up like a typical math class. Um, they're all fairly independent of each other, and we set it up that way on purpose. But let me take you down to the calendar because I think this is the most important thing. With the calendar, what you're seeing is the assignments and when they are coming due. So, for example, for this particular quarter, Tuesday is the second day in week one. And that's when I've put all of those assignments that you saw there under the week zero. Uh, uh, I call these blocks, right? So week zero blocks, if you click on week zero, it lists all those. And then if you want to close that up, you just click that again and it goes away. You want to see everything that's going to come due in week one. They're all here. And also, you'll see the readings and the videos. We'll get to that here in a bit. So, what you're seeing are due dates. And unless there's some sort of weird exception, they're all due at midnight. This one, for some reason, is due at 10:59. So I'm going to go in and change that. They should always be due at midnight. And I can't actually think of an exception to that. So if you see something like that, let me know so I can fix that. I try to look through here and everything, but sometimes things slip by me. Um, and typically in a typical week, like for example, our week started here. And so we're in the first week. You'll notice that nothing usually comes due this week, this first week being an exception, until Monday or Tuesday. You'll probably noticed I paused it there for a second because everything just changed on the screen. Um, on the yeah, for most of the time, our written assignments always come due Tuesday, along with the quiz and our review problems, which I call the prep for final. But on Friday and on Friday, I put the link of the reading for that week that you want to have completed by that Friday and video examples that go along with the reading or video lessons that are there. So, and that doesn't mean there's no points to gain there. There's nothing really with that, except for I want to put the link on the calendar for you. But you'll see that with each week that we have up here. And I'm going to go back to our previous format. Here we go. That those readings are in near the top here. We have the learning outcomes. We have the questions forum for this week. So again, I said in the forums initially, which you can also access here, they're also in the blocks for each week as well. And then you have the required reading. So this will take you directly to the book. And this is what you want to read for that week. And then problem solving videos, you can click here for that, but those are also linked on the calendar. And then here's some extra problem solving videos that are available to you. And then you have the written assignments and the exercises, the skills quiz, and problem solving written assignment part 2 here. And then the week 1 PF. PF means prepare for final. So generally what I have in there are, you're going to always post that week's notes that you've taken. And so what I want to see here is not work from your homework. I don't want to see anything like that. What I want to see is a one page, try to keep it to one or fewer page summary of all the important formulas, all the important definitions, if there's definitions there, from that week. And I'm going to be grading this and giving you feedback for that there. And in the first week, there's no review problems because we just finished doing those. So all you have to do is post your week 1 notes, and I will go in and give you manual points for that. That's something I have to grade, and then I give you feedback. This is something else I wanted to point out in the grade book is the feedback links here. If I've given you feedback on an assignment, you can click on this link and it'll tell you yeah, because I'm logged in as a student. So let me go back here. Just want to show you feedback. So here I gave feedback on this question, this question, and this question. So I'm trying to communicate with you about specific things that might have been wrong or good about what you submitted. So always look for those, especially on your written assignments. Your written assignments are an opportunity for you to really show off what you've learned for that week. And I can tell when something is not there wasn't a lot of effort that you put into that. And I will base your grade on that, either good work or not so great work. One other thing that's come up, I've had people put in stuff that's obviously done from AI. Any kind of written submission that I'm giving you, I run it through my AI detector. And if it's above 50%, I give you a 0 for that assignment. So you really want to do this work yourself. And I don't even want you pasting any of this into uh, uh, AI or anything like that. I want to see your work and your work only, even if it's if something goes wrong on your assignment. I can tell usually, but because it's tricky, sometimes I can't tell. But I can usually tell if somebody hasn't really done the work and they're just giving me something from AI. It's pretty obvious. So don't do that. And if I see repeated violations of that, even after I've warned you about it, that's something that I would send up to the dean because it's basically like plagiarism. So don't go with the AI. You're here to learn, and don't cut yourself short, and don't make yourself have to retake a class simply because you took a easy way out, so to say. Okay, so as you're planning your week, these are just introductory assignments. We're going to be starting, and you want to start right in with the reading and the video examples. You want to try to have these done by Friday. I just put that as kind of a goal. Doesn't have to be done by Friday, but there is a written portion, part one here. It's a very simple, I'm just asking you to think and to write down some things. But your main practice stuff is here in the exercises, which come due on Monday at midnight. So do not wait for these dates to work on these. You can see that Tuesday has a lot coming due. And for example, our written assignment part two is a particularly in-depth, sort of, I would say, longer assignment. And if you wait till the last minute to work on it, you're probably not going to be as thorough as you need to be in order to get the maximum number of points for that. My AI kicked off there. Speaking of AI on my watch, I apologize. But the exercises here, when you click in here, these are how you can practice, or how you're going to practice and put to work those exercises and the reading and the videos that you've been watching. All right, so you can do these in conjunction with the reading, but I recommend you at least give it the reading kind of all the way through before you start on these, and then take notes as you're going through the reading. One thing that I tell students who haven't learned how to read a textbook yet, a good rule of thumb you can use in your readings, and let me actually click on one of the readings. We'll go to a different. Now we'll go to graph theory. So I'll click on this. This takes you to the part of the book where we talk about graph theory, which is the topic for, I think it's week 2 or 3. Whenever you have things in boxes, those tend to be sort of the highlight, right? So these are important definitions. If it's very basic and you don't need to write these down, that's okay. But those are what you can kind of look for. We talk about those definitions, and then, like I said, you don't have to write all of this. You can summarize it. But the boxes are where you'll see a lot of important information. What I would recommend for this week, for example, when I'm giving you a step-by-step algorithm, these are important. So these would be things you'd want to write down and put into your notes. So definitions, if you want to put examples, try to keep it to 1 page. And so when you see, and maybe it'll be after you work through some of the exercises, you want to go back and make your notes. The reason why it's called a prep for final, number one, is because you're going to have review problems, not the first week, but every week after that. And you're also going to post a summary of that week. So if you're in the habit of just taking notes and you like to write stuff out, that's great. Then here what you want to submit is go through your notes and put down the things that are the highlights, the most important, because you'll be able to use those 1 page of notes per week when you take the final exam. Okay. And you get 1 page per week, basically. So you want to write down, for example, once you get to week 5, you might forget some of the important things in week 1. Like when we do voting theory, you want to write down the different steps it would take to do a certain type of voting process. So make it something that if I were to give your notes to somebody else, they would be able to use that to get through any problem that shows up in like what you would see in the exercises, if that makes sense. So with the exercises as well, I'm going to get back to that. I jumped around a little bit. I'm trying to avoid doing that. There's a couple ways to get to all the exercises. Number one, you can just kind of keep going. I'm on question 1, I submit it, I go to question 2. You can also pull down the list here to jump to different questions. So that's another way of doing it. Here, what is 70% of 130? I'm going to type an answer here. I'm going to put something incorrect. All right, so I got it wrong. On this last try, I got 0 out of 2 points. I'm going to try it a second time. I'm going to also get it incorrect this time. So again, Did I hit submit? Oh, okay. And then I'm going to try a third time. And now I've done my three tries. Um, so what I'm going to do is get another question that's similar to this one. And if I can get it right on the first submission, I get 2 out of 2 points, which is what this is available. So now I want to find 45% of 240. So I'm going to get my calculator here. I got to clear it out. There's the all clear. Oops. All right. And these come up randomly, so I couldn't prepare ahead of time even for this. But now I'm going to put the correct uh, thing. And you can see I got 2 out of 2 points. Basically, if you want to be able to get every question right on the first attempt, if I were to answer it correctly on the second attempt, it's going to take 25% off the point. And by the third attempt, if you don't get it right on the third, or if you get it right on the third, it's going to take another 25% off. In other words, you want to get the full points. And so if you didn't get it right on the first submission, you want to try a similar question. Now that you've got it right on the third, you know what to do. So you know how to do it here. Basically, they're similar questions, but different numbers is how those work. So with your exercises, your goal should be always start working on them earlier in the week. The sooner you can get your reading done and video examples and start working on these, the better. Once you've gotten that to be 100%, you should shoot for 100%. Don't let any of those uh, points go to waste. If you run into a problem, let me pull this up again. We're going to resume. All right. Um, you can cut and paste this into the forum, right? If you want to get help. I don't understand this. This is what I tried. So I can go to the problem solving questions forum, add a new thread, say week one, Q1, and cut and paste the problem here. You might have to modify it because it looks like I didn't copy everything, and then just post it. And people will see that and be able to reply to you, and I can do the same. And I check, just like I check my messages, I check the forums several times a day. So, and it's easier sometimes if you send me a question, I give you a long answer. I might anonymously post that to the forum as well, because I know other people, if you have a problem with it, generally, other people are going to. The written assignment is going to be a little bit long, so make sure you give yourself time to do that. But as you're working through the week, these are your goals. You want to have these done, hopefully, before the due date. If you plan ahead like that, uh, it allows you a lot of flexibility, a lot of time to get help. But what I find a lot of students do, as is the human nature, is to put them off till the last minute. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're going to find that it tends to not work in your favor when you do that. Now, if there is a week where things just, life is not perfect, I understand that, where you aren't able to get it on time and you need more time. You're not going to see it here, but on when you've registered, you were given 10 late passes. There's a little blue link here that says use late pass. And if you click on that, it'll move the due date 24 hours, and you'll actually see the icon move one day over. And that will add 24 hours to your due date. You only have 10 of those to use throughout the quarter. So use them wisely, right? You don't want to use them all up in the first couple of weeks. If there is a major problem where a bunch of them are due, but it was outside circumstances, you can always message me and I can move these for you. But just by clicking on late pass doesn't mean you can turn it in anytime you want. It only moves it over by 24 hours. So if it's a Thursday and something happened and you need more time, email me. Otherwise, for you to move the exercises over to Thursday, you would have to use 1, 2, 3 late passes, right? It only moves it over by 1 day, and that's true for all of these here. So the main point here is pay attention to the due dates and get yourself on a track for success this week, starting now. Okay. Well, as we finish up, the main thing I wanted to emphasize, a couple of just things. Um, Communicate with me. You guys are on a journey here. Remember, uh, doing bad or poorly in 1 week, don't let that discourage you, but always be looking, what are some of the reasons why or how I could be better, and how I could have tackled that week better to learn the material better to have been more successful in that week. Always be thinking about that. And what you'll find most of the time is that if you plan ahead, you're going to give yourself flexibility to be able to get these done on time and completed. If you need help, you need advice, send me a message. Always message me for anything, any questions that you have. But if you can, try to keep it in WAMAP rather than in Canvas and or email. Uh, and any kind of big things where you lost a whole week, those are things you want to communicate with me. Generally, what I'm going to do is get you on the right track first and then find a way using your late passes to make up a lost week if something happens and you lost a whole week. Okay. But I do require that you get yourself on the right track for the current week, generally, is how I space that out. At any rate, I'm looking forward to a great quarter with you all. Please reach out. I'd love to meet every single one of you. Um, Come visit my office hour if you have questions or you just want to say hello. I'm happy to meet with you and meet you. And let's have a great quarter together.